Never take my sunshine away, sunshine away. Never take my sunshine away, sunshine away. Never take my sunshine away, sunshine away. Never take my. Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to NXT with NaJee. You guys already know what it is when I'm here. I got this up a little prematurely there. Don't mind that. But you guys know what it is. Welcome back. Season 4. We are part of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, a.k.a. The Whip Show, and we are also a part of bodyslam.net. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to Season 4. Season 4. We are 75 episodes deep. This is now episode 76. It's pretty crazy. This episode, we're going to be talking about New Year's Evil to kick things off with, of course. As you know, it's always like the PLE type Tuesday event that happens. It kicks off the new year. But as per usual, I'm not alone, ladies and gentlemen. This time, this one's a big deal for me. This is the only person I trust with anything news or rumors or anything regarding Dragon Ball. If you follow Star Wars, if you follow Marvel, if you follow just anything that involves being a nerd and having a good time, this is the guy that you need to be able to get a hold of, watch, listen to, and trust, because this guy doesn't make up a lot of things and actually fact checks a lot of different things. It's a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my first guest of Season 4. One of my favorite YouTube channels, one of my favorite hosts, one of my favorite people, Mr. GEEKDOM 101. How you doing, sir?
That was so kind of you, man. I really appreciate the kind words you said, man. You tickled me in all the right spots with that intro. I felt it right here.
Heck yeah, man. Well, dude, thank you for being here. Like I said in the intro, like I've been big fan of yours, big supporter of yours since Dragon Ball Super was on its original run. You kept me sane. You kept me locked in and following the proper information instead of a lot of the weird things that happen on the internet nowadays with this Dragon Ball news, man. So thank you for being here. How you doing?
No, I'm doing great. And thank you for having me. I'm actually happy to be here because I don't get to talk enough wrestling. Like I have a part-time wrestling podcast, but I talk about a little bit of it in World of Geekdom, but I like talking to other people about it and kind of getting their thoughts. You know, for a while, and I'll just be really honest with you about this. You may have known this. I was really like kind of stubborn when it came to like my wrestling opinions. Like I always thought like I was like, you know, like I knew what I was talking about. And I mean, I do, but like I've learned that sometimes like not every, like, you know, you have to listen to other people and get different perspectives. And there's a lot of like, everyone's so different. You know what I mean? Like the fans that got into it during the Ruthless Aggression era have a whole different perspective of wrestling compared to like the ones that got in the 80s. And so it's fun to talk to them. And it's cool when like they can show you something you've never seen before and you can show them. It's just, I love it, bro. So thank you for inviting me here.
Heck yeah, seriously, man. Heck yeah. Dude, I think this is like a dream come true because you're one of the people that really inspired me to even try to get into YouTube or even like take a crack at it. Granted, like I don't have the views of the following, but it's just the inspiration by itself.
Well, you will.
Yeah, of course. And the honesty and just the consistency, man. It's a dope thing to have. But we're gonna jump into the old NXT train here with some New Year's Evil conversation. Now, match number 1 was supposed to be, let me get the right prompt up here, was supposed to be Thea Hale versus Blake Monroe, who you're a big fan of, by the way. Shout out to Blake Monroe.
I've loved her since the Stardom days, bro. She, in my opinion, now again, I'm not Shawn Michaels. I'm not any. I'm just a fan. I've been a fan since '89, since I was 5. But I think Blake Monroe is one of the top 10 in the world, women, and that's saying something in this era. Like if you look at the women's roster for WWE and you include NXT, it's absolutely bonkers. Like I've never seen like this much talent. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could do like 4 or 5 Evolution pay-per-views a year with how many good people they have. So if you're in the top 10, I mean, again, it's only my humble opinion. I love her, but the match didn't happen and I was sad.
Yeah, so the match didn't end up happening. What happens is Thea comes out, she's doing her entrance, and Blake immediately attacks her. Attacks her so bad, throws her through a table or on top of a table to where Thea is now incapacitated and cannot wrestle, and the match is canceled. I normally don't talk about the promos, but this one you kind of have to because it tells you more of the story going throughout the night. So Ava ends up walking up to Thea, talks to Thea, lets her know that she can't compete, she can't do this, she can't do that. Thea gets upset. Jordan Grace is with her too. Shout out to Jordan Grace for getting called up, by the way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I think she should have got called up like 2 years ago,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
truthfully.
that's the thing. A lot of fans, man, like Obafemi, he was ready like 6 months ago. Trick Williams, but I'm glad now, like, 2026 is their time.
Yeah. So Thea basically says, screw that. I want a match tonight. I'm supposed to have a match tonight. And Ava basically gives her permission to redo the open challenge. But we will get to that match and what ends up happening. There's already a spoiler on this page right now, but we'll get to talking about it in just a little bit. So that takes us to match number 1 officially. Is Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Dame. This one's got a lot of story to it. For those who don't know and haven't been following, Tatum originally joined the Culling, being recruited by Izzy. Long story short, the turn happened. Izzy turned on her. They kicked her out of the group. Tatum said it's not over until I say it's over. This is the match that basically, I guess, says it's over. But how are you feeling about this one? I think Tatum showed out just like she was supposed to. I think the passion behind the story made her look great. I think Izzy just did Izzy Dame things, which is be tall, be powerful, be strong. Great match. How are you feeling about it?
I agree. And I like Tatum a lot. Tatum reminds me of like a mix of like Paige when she was in NXT with like oh my god, Daphne who passed away a few years ago. Like she gives me those vibes. But I think she's, and again, the NXT, I mean, we you know it even better than me. The NXT like training is like the best in the world, basically. So Tatum could reach levels that beyond either of, even though they're all great. And I hope that, again, it's not my call, but
right.
Tatum, I think, is right. Like on like I'm saying, I would not be surprised if she got called up at least early next year, at least maybe sooner than that. This was great. And
all right, but yeah, this is great. And Tatum ends up winning. Tatum gets the ultimate revenge. Tatum gets to finish this story, not her story, but just this story.
It's over now. This is it, right?
I think so. I think so. There's a little bit of, there was a hint at the beginning of another match that we'll get to once we get there that it might not be over, but we'll see. But congratulations to Tatum Paxley. Well deserved. I'm excited to see what happens next for you. I believe you might be chasing after a certain title that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. But congratulations one more time to Miss Tatum Paxley. Now, match number 2, which I was really hoping would have been match number 3, but it's match number 2. We got JC Jane versus Kendall Gray, your Evolve Women's Champion, Kendall Gray, and your NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane. This one is for the NXT Women's Championship. I love Kendall Gray. I can't say it enough. I think she is the future. I think she, maybe not even the future. She is the now, since that's what Braun Breaker and everybody else is saying. She is the now. I'll say it every time I talk about her. She will be the best person in a singlet to touch that ring since Kurt Angle. And you can quote me on that.
That's a big one. That's a big one, but okay.
Yep. I see it, man. I see it. How are you feeling about Kendall Gray from what you've seen so far?
So to be frank with you, seeing her last night was the second time I had ever seen her. It's very okay. So let me get this out of the way. I love professional wrestling. I've been obsessed with it almost. Maybe not obsessed, but I've been a massive fan since I was 5. And I have a huge collection of stuff that I've amassed throughout the years, like different territories and like different eras and stuff like that. My thing is that nowadays there's so much wrestling, and unfortunately, like when I was a kid, if I missed any wrestling during the week, I'd be mad. I mean, obviously nowadays we got you can always rewind it or go online to see it. But dude, I'd be a little fat 10-year-old kid mad that I missed like Razor Ramon versus Rick Martel or something like that, But so my point to that is I've seen one episode of Evolve and I haven't followed up with it. And that's because there's just so much wrestling on TV. Like, I watch NXT, but not every week. I have missed a lot of it. So because there's just so much wrestling. And then if you include other companies, you got TNA running around. So if it's NXT Tuesday, Wednesday Evolve and AEW, and then Thursday you've got TNA, and then Friday SmackDown. There's wrestling on every day of the week.
Yeah,
and
every day.
I have to, yeah, but and I have other things I have to do. So I never get to catch Evolve, but I do like her a lot. And I didn't think JC Jane would actually I didn't think she'd get this far.
That was going to be my second question, was how are you feeling about the growth of JC Jane since, God, what, 5-6 years ago in NXT?
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is, I mean, no disrespect. This is not a criticism at all. I just didn't think she would get here this fast. I knew she would eventually, because you can just tell who, who has it, but they went all in on her, and let's see. It kind of reminds me of how in New Japan they just crowned Tsuji the champion, and that was okay. They're trying somebody new. It's sort of like what they did with Jey Uso. Let's give them the ball and see how they run with it.
Oh, but she's killing it. I think she's doing way better than a Jey Uso run, and that's no disrespect to Jey, but man, in every match that she's been in since she was called the most beatable champion, she has looked like the most unbeatable champion. It's unreal. If it's either
I love that. I love that too. The most beautiful champion that can't be beat, right?
Yeah, and now it's between having Fatal Influence in her corner and just her by herself. Dude, I'm not sure who's gonna beat her if it's not somebody from Fatal Influence. That might be the only way. But after an amazing match by Kendall showed out like she always does. The sky's the limit for that girl. But due to some interference by Fatal Influence, just when it looked like Kendall was actually going to win, crowd on their feet, that building was going crazy. I got multiple texts from my friends there saying that everybody thought it was happening. But JC Jane ends up retaining and still your NXT Women's Champion. And almost immediately after that match happened last night, the dirt sheets went crazy. I'm pretty sure Sean Ross Sapp and some other people started tweeting that now JC Jane's getting talked about getting called up. So
that fast. That's what I'm saying.
That fast, dude. Who knows what's gonna happen? So,
but you know what? I'm glad these call-ups are happening, because I'm just gonna be real. SmackDown has not been the best show in 2025. A lot of fans feel this way. I think WWE now, this current era, 2025, was a step down from 2024, my opinion. But I think one of the ways they can fix it is by finally calling up these new people and having an influx. So Raw is going to have, Javon Evans and a whole bunch of like 4 or 5 new people. SmackDown can get 4 or 5. They just brought Matt Cardona back. So and they got Joe Henry running around. So I'm happy that people are getting called up, because then it'll be like the ladder where, to replace those people, the NXT middle people go up, and then the Evolve and TNA people go. You know how it is, bro. The ladder to get to the main roster. Yeah, it's like Evolve, TNA, or AAA, depending on what country you're in or whatever. And then you got NXT, and then you got WWE. And there's nothing wrong with TNA being, in my opinion, not number one. It actually benefits them to work with WWE, because they get access to all these people, and it makes the shows better.
I almost want to say that TNA is the new developmental. That should be that almost is what it is.
And Evolve,
Evolve TNA, and then you move up to an NXT, and then you can move up to an X roster. I think that's the real pecking order here now.
It reminds me a lot of in the 2000s when they had what was it? Heartland Wrestling.
Oh no!
But before that, I'm talking about the developmentals. They had Heartland, which was Les Thatcher,
and OVW,
and then OVW, right? Yep. And they were 2 separate developmental, and then eventually it became Florida Championship Wrestling in Deep South or whatever. I'm not gonna go to the whole history. I'll go into the whole thing if you want, would have time. But I like that there's different pathways in. That WWE ID system is good, and that's the point. Is we've got these retirements going on now. We've got the Cena retirement. We've got the rumored Jericho, Lesnar, AJ Styles retirement. So as those guys step away, here come more people. So that's the way it should be, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%. All right, so now I'm gonna jump back to this thumbnail for the next match, because it has everything to do with what happened here. So now for match number 3, we have an open challenge for Thea Hale's North American Championship. She comes out. I love you to death, Thea, but that was really bad acting. My personal opinion. Some people might have thought she cooked. It was just very hard for me to believe the emotion in what she was trying to say at the beginning before everybody came out, but I got the point of it. And I guess that's what happens when you have a random moment like her winning the title and you kind of have to just rush and write some things. I get it. I get it. I get it. Like I said, no disrespect. So she opens the locker room, tells everybody they can come out. Of course, all the women come out. Nikita Lyons had a hilarious little strut as she was coming around the corner. Wendy Chu was in there, saw a lot of good faces. But then all of a sudden you hear a chainsaw, and here comes Tatum Paxley running with a chainsaw down the aisle, basically saying she's about to hop in and take over and take that spot for the open challenge. And just as she does that, she turns around and Izzy's already big booted the absolute hell out of Thea.
That was a great subversion.
Awesome swerve. That was so good because I didn't see that one coming. I was like, oh shit, it's Tatum's turn. Here we go. Whoops.
Me neither. I thought the same thing you did. I was like, okay, she's gonna have a really good night. Yeah.
Yep. And then big swerve, and here comes Izzy, not looking like she even wrestled a full match earlier, and a good match at that too. And then she goes into a little bit of a lengthy match with Thea. And that surprised me. I thought it was going to be quick, 1, 2, 3, and new. But
you
it
thought
actually
it was
ended
like
up
a Money
being
in the Bank type of finish.
Yeah, and it actually ended up being a really good match for maybe less than 10 minutes, but it was good. It was really good. Thea had some good moments where she showed that Izzy was tired from her match before, but Izzy just kept coming. And ladies and gentlemen, and new, shocked the world, 2026, and new Women's North American Champion, Izzy Dame. How, like I said, I know you don't really follow NXT too heavy, but from what you got to catch of Izzy Dame, how are you feeling about Izzy Dame and this idea and this move?
I like Izzy Dame, and I am gonna probably start watching it more now, only because I have a bit more, at least for now, I have a bit more time. We'll see what happens later in the year.
Yeah,
but
especially this month.
Yeah, and now that I've seen a few weeks, you know, I can get back in, and I'm curious because with these new call-ups, I want to see who else gets pushed. But you know, it's interesting that this is, you know, what they did here, because a lot of people ask me, because you know I'm 41, so I've been watching since I was 5. That would be like 89. Very vague memories. Again, I was a kid. I was little. I was 5. Yeah, I was 5 years old. So people ask me, what is the earliest wrestling memory? What's the first thing you remember seeing ever in wrestling? And I tell them the earliest wrestling memory I have, and I saw it on TV. It was a highlight package from the previous year's SummerSlam, and it was Honky Tonk Man with the IC title saying open challenge to anybody, and it was the Ultimate Warrior. That's the first wrestling thing I ever saw. And that was, but what's crazy about that is this angle is basically that angle, and they've done it. So that angle with Honky and Warrior has been done over and over again throughout the years, but it almost always works. It almost, it's the whole like Heyman talked about it once when he said, if you can't give the fans what they want because of whatever injuries or whatever happens, try to give them something they weren't expecting as like a not an apology, but like as a
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, to make them go home happy. And that's what I think this was. They didn't get the Thea Hale Blake Monroe match. But they got this, and they got a title change. And so, you know,
and a big reason why I think they didn't get the match is because, just like JC, the rumor is going around that main roster wants Blake bad. Bro, and I think the smart move, I think the smart move here was to keep Blake as healthy as possible. Don't even risk it. Just make it seem like she's going off the edge, because even afterwards they did like a little back and forth between Ava and Blake online during the show. Like after she got kicked out of the arena, she called her a Nepo baby. So I feel like it might go a little more into the story of Ava being like, she's not allowed back on my show. She can be somebody else's problem. And then that's how we get her on a Raw or a SmackDown. I think Raw would be perfect for her. But
she's so good. Like everything that Mariah May / Blake Monroe, she's so good at everything. Like the thing that trips me out about Blake Monroe is, if you just look at her without knowing anything about her in wrestling, she looks like somebody from like the Diva Search. You know, she has that sort of the glamour thing. She's blonde. Like she resembles the kind of women that were recruited during that mid 2000s to early 2010s era. but she's this crazy, incredible in-ring wrestler. Like no disrespect to the Diva Search era girls, but a lot of them never really picked up wrestling. They struggled because it's hard. It's hard to do. This is not easy. Blake Monroe, top 10, maybe top 5 in the world. That's a special wrestler, man. I see her being up there with the Rhea Ripleys and the Becky Lynches. Just a few years. Let's see.
That's why I said Raw. I think if they send her to Raw, perfect. She's already right there with all of them.
Bro, her and Stephanie Vaquer. That's what I was saying earlier. There are so many like incredible women in this company, including NXT, that it's like, and then you got AAA also. So like, there are so many dream matches, like even like a Becky Lynch versus Blake Monroe. That the promo work, like there's so. I'm excited. I really am, because there's just so many
good time.
The women's, it's like every year it's a mind f. I'm not gonna curse. Every year I'm always like, okay, they have the best women's roster, right, in the world, and then bam, they got Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's like how do they just pull the two best in the world at the same exact time?
That's what I'm saying, and so I'm tripping out. It reminds me of like during the Monday Night War when WCW had all these like WWF stars, and then here comes Bret Hart, and it's like, okay, now WWF's in trouble. They got everyone, and then of course Austin, blah blah blah. They were fine, but the point is, it reminds me of when you look at the roster, it's almost like unfair, you know, like there's not when I say unfair, I mean like for other wrestling companies, because there's so much talent here, it could last 10 years, maybe more.
Now, forever.
Yeah, together. Right. But anyways, thanks for letting me mark out. It's just there's a
you're
lot.
Good, man. I love it. I'm here for it.
No, it's mind-blowing because they really are that good. So, yes. And also, did you notice that this show was structured very similar to Raw, where it was a lot of women's matches. Actually, it was 4 matches, 3 women's matches for championships, and then the males had the main event. Yep. That's a weird. I know it wasn't done on purpose, but it's a weird coincidence that was structured like
almost the same exact way. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy,
but
crazy.
I do think the NXT show was probably a stronger show, and I say that only because
the Stranger Things just wasn't really necessary, and it didn't do anything. Like
if you go into that show, right? I went into that show expecting a few surprises, build up to the Rumble.
Jericho,
I did not like that show.
Roman, something like
something, right? Something. It was nothing. I was let down. But with NXT, New Year's Evil is a big TV special, I guess you can say, right? But it's not like January 1st or the first show of 2026 on Netflix. I felt like they could have busted out more stuff and they didn't. But this had the Izzy Dame surprise. So even that, you know, and then of course the ending of this show, which
we'll get to in just a second.
Yeah.
But all right, and new.
I even hit you up.
Yeah, and new North American champion. Congratulations, Izzy Dame. I'm excited to see what happens with this. They hinted a little bit that the Tatum story might not be over with, but we'll see what happens next week. Congratulations, my friend. Now we're going to get to a fantastic match, fantastic everything. 2 participants that just blow me out of the water every single time that I see it. Blow it out of the park. Whatever I'm trying to say. My mind's blown with these 2. Obafemi still. He's just Obafemi, man. You can't get past it. He's everything that you want a wrestler to be, and
he's a monster.
He's literally the Thanos of WWE in real time. And then you have Leon Slater, who is like, if you can make Javon Evans better, you got Leon. Like
wait, so you're saying you think Leon is better? You're gonna get heat for that.
I don't know. I think Leon's got a little bit more experience than Javon. Javon's obviously been wrestling since he was 13, but Leon's been wrestling since he was 9. So I think he just has the edge over Javon just a little bit more. And so that's why I say that respectfully.
Getting in the ring when you're 9, bro,
is crazy business. I've met some of the kids at NXT when I was there that just frequented the crowd, and I talked to everybody. And there's some kids that are getting into training right now that are very young, that just go to NXT every week and get inspired. So it's cool to see that like climax of a story in real time. But yeah, this is
But
Leon. Leon's going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was actually they got to sign like releases if the parents' permission for that, right? Like if
Yeah,
you're
yeah. The parents are usually there with them, which I like
okay,
at the
okay, because
trainings.
I thought you had to be at least 16 to start training. I think
Oh
that's
no,
how it used to be.
maybe I mean there's probably just some exceptions, and people have their own rules at their own gyms, so they probably
That's true.
change certain things for people.
No,
But
that
for
makes
this
sense. Yeah,
match,
yeah,
this
yeah.
match was built up, and I think it lived up to the hype that it was built up around. Obafemi has been dominant for 2 years straight now. Last year he won his first NXT championship. This year at New Year's Evil he is defending his NXT championship. But Leon's trying to do something that nobody else has done outside of the Hardys, which is take an NXT title to TNA. So if he wins this one, he'll have all the gold and he'll be the face of the show. But this match did not end up happening that way. Like Leon put up a
Easier
great
said than
fight.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leon put up a great fight.
Yeah.
He definitely did the right move by going straight after Oba's knees because that's the only way you're going to take a big man like that down. And good Lord, Oba just would not stop with the offense, even when he was getting attacked and brutalized. The slap to Leon's chest on the end of that ring will haunt me in my nightmares forever.
Well, I wanted to say, yeah, I was surprised that Leon got that much offense in a good way.
Mhm.
This match was so much fun, dude. Oh, I had such a good time because this was again, I don't know how much of Shawn Michaels' fingerprints are in the match, but one thing that you know about Shawn is he's the master of big man, little man, or like he knows how to do the crazy bumps, and you know, he's Shawn Michaels, bro. What more can be said? But like this reminded me of like similar to like his matches with Diesel, like the one from
Yeah, that's
House
exactly what I was
7.
thinking about too. That's so funny.
Yeah, because he got a lot of offense. Like it was cool to see Obafemi. Like there was a couple times where near the end, and it's hard to fool me. They had me thinking this is it,
was
and
happening.
right, and I was like, oh, that I love that feeling. I love when they get me. I'm not one of these like smarky markies who like
it should have been this way.
No. Yeah, I like when they get me. I like when I think something's gonna happen and it doesn't, and it's better. I love it. But then Obafemi, so he wins, right? They're gonna keep him like protected. But you want to talk about like the end of the show because that tripped me out.
Yeah, so this was crazy, and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna pat myself on the back here, and I love that like you're here because it's made me think of like you with Daima and how right you are about some stuff.
You have no idea. We can talk about that if you want.
2 years ago, I said this on like one of my very first episodes. I was like, the only way you ever send Obafemi off is if he relinquishes that title. He just drops it in the ring and walks out. I said that, and now. This is unbelievable. Breaking news. He's officially relinquished his title. Now, the way it went down was crazy. So Oba, I saw him look at the belt, and in my head, I'm like, he's not putting that thing down. There's no way. And then they cut backstage, and now I'm going to do another promo skate here thing. They cut backstage to Ava talking to the whole entire Evolve locker room, naming off Jordan, Trick, and all the other people who just got called up, basically telling the new talent, their spot's open now.
Yeah,
stepping up.
I like that.
Who's ready to go? And as she's doing that, Mr. Stone comes in and says, Ava, did you see what Oba just did? And it cuts back, and this is all you see.
That's all
you see is the NXT championship just sitting there in the ring. Silence. The crowd is shook. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows what just happened. And I'm screaming. I'm in my apartment yelling like, I knew it. I knew it.
And it went down the same exact way that you thought it was going to.
Beautiful. Like to a T. Like somebody back there is listening.
And I love that they didn't just do the thing where he just looked at it and put it down. They cut to the back and had Stone say, hey, did you see what happens? Kind of like, like telling the audience, telling us also. And then next thing you know, it cuts to the ring. And I sent you a DM immediately. I was like,
immediately.
Is he giving up the title? Like, because in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, that's a cool way to like make him seem like a badass. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, does that make the NXT title look bad? Like, in your opinion, does it hurt? Like, oh, I don't need this anymore. I'm going for something bigger. But like, you know what I mean? Like, Like, do you think it hurts the NXT title? Because that's something that popped in my head too. That maybe, what do you think?
So I don't think it hurts it. If anything, I think it just adds to his legacy. It adds to the title's legacy. Like, we had a champion so good to where he didn't even feel the need to defend it anymore. He just walked out on top. Like, damn. Like now when you see that, now when that title gets put on somebody else's shoulder and they run into Oba, he's just gonna laugh. Like,
no, there's two things. I think, I don't know if they're going to do this, but I would assume so. He's probably going to come out at some point, either next week or on NXT or on one of the other shows, and say that I'm entering the Royal Rumble. I've relinquished the NXT title so I can enter the Rumble. I think it would have been cool if he went into the Rumble as NXT champion, but that's okay. We don't have to do that. Or if they did something creative, like he gets in the Rumble and he says, whoever throws me over the top of the Rumble gets the NXT title. So think about this. No, actually, you can steal this idea. I'm giving this to WWE. I'm giving it to WWE. Oba should say, anybody who throws me over the top in the Rumble gets the title. So you could have the announcer say, if somebody can eliminate Oba and win the Rumble, they'll be NXT champion and
going
get a shot
into
at one of the other titles. And so you can become a double champion.
Ooh,
and that way there's a crazy
Stand and Deliver and Mania. Ooh.
Bro, steal this idea. Steal it. You can have it. I won't sue. But even if they don't do it this year, like, wouldn't that be awesome? So what that could do is, now if you're an entrant in the Rumble, like if you're just a wrestler, you could say, okay, if I get rid of Oba, I know I'm going to get something. So even if you have a low number, let's say, you're thinking, okay, I might not make it to the end. Like if you're like a Kofi Kingston or one of these guys who is not really going to get pushed, whoever, upper mid guy, and then you have them throw Oba over, and then that could start a feud. Or you just have Oba go in the chamber. I'm just saying that would be cool.
Oh man, Oba's gotta be in the chamber.
That'd be scary, bro. But I cannot wait. I told you before the show started, I think him and Rusev would be a great,
start. That's how you start the Rumble right there.
Bro, either that or just, even if they just have a match at WrestleMania, like these two behemoths going at it, we
might have just called the Mania match right there, because I could see that.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You just wait till Omos shows up again.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna end that one on that.
He's in AAA, bro.
But I'm gonna end that one there. Wait until Omos and Oba finally lock up the way they were supposed to at that house show before it didn't happen. But all right, my friends, congratulations.
I think that would work.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good, bro. Congratulations to Oba Femi. I'm just gonna pull this picture up one more time because that's a powerful photo. Who knows what's going to happen next? I know Ricky's going to come after that title. I know Miles Bourne's going to come after that title. It's going to be a lot.
They're going to do a tournament, right? I'm guessing.
It's going to be a lot. It'd have to be for the next PLE, whatever that one will be in February. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for the recap part of the show. That was New Year's Evil, and what a crazy, crazy way to kick off the 2026 season of NXT, if you want to call it that. Yeah, this is a part of the show. Oh, my bad. Hold on. Did you guys something?
No, I was just saying one quick thing. One of the things I wish they would do, I hope they do it actually, is maybe on the next PLE. We haven't really seen in a long time a one night tournament. Like they've done the
King of the Ring, like the old King of the Ring.
Right. And they do King and Queen of the Ring, but they have the qualifying matches on TV sometimes, or the first. Yeah, I miss the pay-per-views where it was like the Deadly Games tournament where the whole show is one tournament. I wish NXT did that.
What if they do that? Or what? Maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's where they're headed for this title in this situation here. That's a good idea. I like
that'd be great.
Food for thought, Sean and Russo.
And you've got the Vince Russo. No, you've got the four the four matches, like the tournament matches, the two semifinals and the final, and then in between you could have women's matches. So it could be a fun little show. I'm just saying I would like to see that. I'm not saying that I'm not fantasy booking. I miss the days of one night tournaments, and NXT's always doing cool stuff from the past, and new things like the Iron Survivor. So I think it would be cool if NXT did something like that. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's all I
I
have to say.
agree. I like that idea. I think that would be the perfect way to put that title in somebody else's hands. I
You
like
got
it.
to win 3 matches in one night. See that, and
Yep,
that's bro, my
it's
favorite
beautiful
wrestler of
stuff.
all time, Bret Hart. He lost at WrestleMania 9, but he went into the King of the Ring tournament and he won, and that was a great way to rebuild him. Anytime somebody asks me what is the best like example of why Bret Hart is great, for me, I say King of the Ring 93. He had 3 different matches with 3 different opponents, and they were all incredible. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, and Bam Bam Bigelow. Each one told a different story. Like,
Mhm.
if you're watching this and you haven't seen King of the Ring 93, get on your Netflix or however you watch it and
Watch
trust
it.
me, that is the show where you see, okay, this is why Bret Hart is so great. That's all I was going to say.
Yes.
I'm
All
a
right. So
fan,
now
bro.
this is the part. I do. I love it. I'm here for it. I love when that's why I try to bring on fans every week because everybody's so passionate about it. Everybody has their own stories. Everybody has their own reason for loving it. And that actually puts me right into my first question for you. Because if you guys have been watching the show the last 3 seasons, you know I like to ask 3 questions to my guests. Now, the first question is always going to be the same, and I switch it up every season. So this year and this season, my question for you and for the rest of my guests will be, what about professional wrestling keeps you watching? You were just talking about the stories, you were talking about the drama. Is it the physicality? Like, what part of it keeps you invested?
All of that, but I think also, I'm just going to be real with you. I'm a lifer, meaning I started watching when I was 5 and I never really stopped. Like, there were times when I was not watching every week, but I was reading on what happened. Like, for example, during a lot of the pandemic, I was only watching the PLEs because the TVs were hard to watch. Like, wrestling without fans is like,
Mhm.
it just didn't work for me.
I got to
So
be in the Thunderdome actually one of the times. I was on a screen once.
and that's not far from where I'm at. So right. But what I was going to tell you was, I think it's one of those things where I have watched for so long that I'm probably never really going to stop. Like,
Mhm.
so everything you said, I think implies, but I also think that, and even if I stop watching certain shows, I'll still keep up with what's going on. So it's just, I'm a lifer, bro. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who always say stuff. I see it all the time. Wrestling fans, when they complain about the product, and somebody will say, well, if it's so bad, why do you keep watching? And it's like,
Mhm. Because I love it.
yeah, and even if it's, and also even if it's bad, every wrestling fan has this like hope, like, okay, maybe it'll get better
Yeah, it's
next
like being
time.
it's like being a football fan. Like, a perfect example of me being from Michigan. I'm a Detroit Lions fan.
Oh
Have been my whole entire
no,
life. Have been my whole entire life. They've been terrible for most of my life, and now they're getting good. So same thing. Like, I get it.
it is the same thing,
Yeah.
but it's just when you're a lifer, like, you just keep like, and the thing is, I like all different types of wrestling, bro. Like, I watch anything. I've got all Japan stuff. I've got like the real snug, like strong style, like really dangerous
Mhm.
stuff. And then
Oh
I've
yeah,
got a
please.
little, I've got some lucha stuff. Like, I like watching territories. The thing about me is, like, I think I'm a different kind of fan, because like, I can compartmentalize eras. So for example, if you started watching wrestling in the last, let's say, 5 years, and you've seen these Javon Evans and Will Ospreys and these guys that are just crazy, and then you go back and you watch like Bruno Sammartino against Larry Zbyszko, you're gonna be like, oh, this is slow. They're not doing any cool moves.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand. Like,
You don't
you
understand
have
the
to,
evolution of like
we,
where it
we
started.
gotta, well, what I mean is, you gotta put yourself back then, right?
Mhm.
You have, and I tell them, like, you don't understand. Like, okay, sure, they don't do as many athletic, crazy stuff, right? Like the modern guys do, but the people in the garden at that time believed, and there were stories that Bruno told. This trips me out. That the New York mafia came to him and was like, "We can take out Larry Zbyszko."
Right now.
The mafia got worked, and Bruno said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it in the ring." Though Larry and Bruno have told that story.
Yeah,
So
that's
when
crazy.
you get so much heat that you've got the 5 families of New York,
That's
like, that's insane.
if this were the '80s, it would be Gunther right now.
That's what I'm saying. When
Exactly.
I saw those, I wrote about it on Twitter. I said, this guy's got territorial heat
Yeah,
in
dude, that's incredible.
2025. But yeah,
Right, I got
I'm
the
saying that the old era, yeah, it's not as spectacular. but there's things to watch for. And I like a lot of the cartoony stuff of the 80s too. There's not a lot of wrestling that I just like wrestling, bro. All different types. As long as it's not boring.
Yes, agreed. That's the most important part. All right. So question number 2. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, my fandom for Geekdom comes from Dragon Ball. All things Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Super, Battle, everything. All things Dragon Ball. So my question for you, I'm not sure if you've actually answered this before or not. Probably you have, because it's a very obvious question, or easy question to ask. But who is your favorite character? Like out of all of them, like out of every single one, who is it?
My favorite character in Dragon Ball is Frieza. That's why I have his avatar. And it's not, I want to make this clear. It's not because I agree with his his ideology or his politics. All right. I don't agree with that. But he's so entertaining as a villain because he's this and this was missed in the original Z dub, but in the Kai dub they got it, and the Japanese, of course. Frieza's Frieza's really polite. Like he's a complex villain because he's spoiled and immature, and he's basically a narcissistic psychopath. But like he's so polite. Will you please hand over these Dragon Balls kindly, sir? And when the Namekian, no, it's like, well, you don't understand. If you don't, and it's all Japanese.
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, we want to take things to extreme measures. And I love that. And then he has more and more of a meltdown, and Goku imprints onto him. So I love Frieza. He's my favorite character.
So to double down on that. Yeah, Vegeta's my favorite, hands down.
A lot of people love Vegeta.
Oh, I love. He's got the best character development for me. His story is so good, and you never really know what's gonna happen next with him. Like the Ultra Ego storyline. I
want more of that.
And now I know we're waiting so patiently, and we have about 2 or 3 more weeks until we can finally get some news.
For me, bro.
Yeah. So you say Frieza is your favorite character. The final question is, what is your favorite Frieza moment?
There's a couple. Obviously, when he blows up Planet Vegeta in the it doesn't matter if it's in the Broly movie or in the Bardock special. Yeah, look at the fireworks. Like that's yeah. The Doria Zarbon, look at this.
Yeah,
you know, with the little finger. There's that moment, and there's when he, and this is again, I don't agree with I'm not like Frieza, but he does murder children in Dragon Ball. This show is it's a kid's show, but maybe little kids should be a little, you know.
Yeah.
And so he turns into his fourth form, and he just goes like this and goes bang, bang, and then the kid's just dead because he fires a blast.
Dende, wasn't it?
It was Dende. Yeah, he killed. Yes, that in the scene I'm talking about was Dende, and that's after he killed Dende's brother earlier in the arc. But he killed him in the manga because the Doria did it in the anime. Anyways, I love that moment. And I love in even in Resurrection F when he like blows up the earth, like
man, that was such a like no way moment.
No more resurrection. They blew it up. Yeah. So again, Toriyama blew it up a second time. So but yeah, those come to mind. I mean, I can't think of. That's pretty much it, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, but those three are running.
We are running out of time, though. But bro, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tapping in, showing some Dragon Ball love there right at the end too, and just talking wrestling. Man. This was great. This was definitely a YouTube dream come true for me, brother. So like, thank you.
Bring me back so we can talk more about wrestling. I want to talk more about wrestling, man. I wish I was like, I see all these guys that are doing well on YouTube, which, you know, I'm happy for them, but I'm like, I want to talk to some of these people and see what what they watch, and you could pick up on it. But yeah, I love talking wrestling.
Yes, dude. Well, just in case you guys didn't know, I already said it a couple times. His page is GEEKDOM101. If you would like to plug your channel in, I know you got some pretty big news that you're getting ready to report in a couple weeks here. So if you want to just let people know what you got going on and where they can find you before we get up out of here.
Okay, if you're here and you want my wrestling quote unquote opinions, that's on a channel called World of Geekdom. I do a podcast with Brandon Draven called the K Fabulous Lucha Brothers Wrestling Show. We're bringing it back live. 2 episodes a month just for fun. The next one's going to be this Sunday. the 10th of January, we're going to be reviewing Raw, SmackDown, like the annual, like the first of the year stuff, a little bit of NXT, the Tokyo Dome show, and we're going to do the alphas and betas of TGIF, which if you're in my age group, you remember TGIF as the Friday night comedy block. Draven and I have this series of podcasts called the Alphas and Betas of, where it's all tongue in cheek, but it's hilarious. And then we've got, but for Dragon Ball stuff, that's Geekdom 101. And yes, there's supposed to be news coming out in the next couple of weeks for the next big project. So I would go there. The content on Geekdom 101 is lore, news, history stuff, a lot of history stuff, some versus battle stuff, but a lot of it is like guides, like learning about transformations, techniques, the history of the series, Toriyama. I think I'm the best at that stuff, like specifically that type of content. Yeah.
Also, get some merch too, y'all. Get the merch. I got the merch.
Oh my God, you are wearing it now forever.
Get the merch, baby.
All right. I'm just gonna say this. I have made a lot of merchandise by taking wrestling catchphrases and putting them in Dragon Ball, and it works. It works, yo. Don't sue me, WWE. Please I'm changing the context.
Don't worry. It says forever. It says fur.
Well, you can take my idea for the NXT title. Do that instead.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. Well, thank you again for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Geekdom 101. Wow, absolute pleasure. Everybody, say bye-bye to Mr. Geekdom. Thank you again, man. I'll talk to you in a little bit, brother. All right, y'all. So, that wraps it up for episode 76, the season 4 premiere of NXT with NaJee. It's been a blast, yo. Shout out to my guest, Geekdom 101, for being here again. We went a little bit longer than we normally do, but it's totally worth it. Dream come true. You know what it is. We are a part of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show, and a part of bodyslam.net. Next week, I will be back with another guest. We will be talking about the fallout from New Year's Evil, and there's some pretty good matches already lined up. So make sure you guys tap in, and I'll never take my sunshine away, sunshine away. Never take my okay, stressed, I feel, I guess can be revealed. My dollar's key, be real. Your life you can't reveal, you know my pride. You hide, no reason left to cry, no reason left to die. You find me feel alive, okay, let's go.